Hello again. Welcome back to the white void of Star Wars Lego Dump. We're going to try another build. Going to try something else. We're going to try this great big thing here. Look, it's General Grievous' Starfighter because it looks really cool and I really want to do it, and I quite like the prequels, so we're going to try doing that. Comes with 3 minifigures. Comes with Obi-Wan Kenobi, hello there. Comes with an airborne clone trooper, and comes with the titular General Grievous himself. Comes with a few shooty bits, so 1 missile there at least, and then 2 shooty little studs that come out there. It's really cool. And then stuff happens. Panels open, and I'm guessing lightsabers come out of there, so that should be pretty cool. Yeah, very much looking forward to this. Let's get some bits out and let's see what bags we've got. Back in a sec. So comes with 1, 2, 3 big bags and a nice glossy pamphlet. Let's have a look what lies within. Ooh, instructions. Oh, nice, shiny. So I think we will get rid of bags 3 and 2. Put them over yonder. And in this particular video, let's start with bag 1. See where we get. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open her up, sort the pieces out. Back in a sec after that. See you in a couple. Hello there, we're back, and I've opened the Book of Dobar to the right page. I've got all my Lego of bag 1, that's pretty much all of it. So let's see what we got to do. Well, it's pretty obvious what we got to do straight away. We've got to make ourselves Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I've got all the bits ready. So let's make the dude himself. And while I'm doing that, let's have a bit of a chat about Star Wars again. And this time, let's make it less ranty and negative. Anyone who knows me knows how much I love Star Wars. I have loved Star Wars ever since I was a teeny tiny little kid. I was too little. I was like a year old when it came out. Wow, I've been crapping on there. We have Obi-Wan Kenobi himself. Look at him. Hello there. Oh, so good. So good that he's coming back. Really looking forward to him being in his own series. But very, very cool. So, as I was saying, let's put Obi-Wan over there. Oh, we've got a blaster as well. Hang on. I just saw. Of course he's got a blaster. It's General Grievous' Starfighter. He's got his blaster. He needs that to kill General Grievous. So uncivilized. So yeah. I have loved Star Wars ever since I was a wee nipper. I wasn't old enough to see it in the cinemas. I was like a year old. So I was very, very young, and I just wasn't able to see it. I do remember the first time I did see it though. I would have been, oh Lord, 4 or 5. I want to say it was either 1979 or 1980, and it was an August bank holiday, and my cousin was babysitting, and I remember watching up until you see General, I think it's Mossy, isn't it, who gets force choked, although we didn't call it that. Back then he was choked by Vader, wasn't he? He was choked out. Get the right pieces here. So yeah, so up until that point, and then my cousin who was babysitting said, right, bed. You got to go to bed. Got to go to bed at this time. And I'm like, what? No, this is changing my life. This film is literally changing my life, and I'm only 4. How can this be happening? It's like, bed, no bed. And it's like, oh, what? So I never saw the whole thing. I don't remember when I did see the whole thing, but it certainly wasn't then. I have a friend who had even worse experience than that. Is this right? No, this isn't right. Who had an even worse experience than that. So they were watching and they got to the cantina scene with Han Solo. And then their mum said, "You've got to go to bed." Can you imagine being a young kid watching up until the cantina scene of all scenes, and then your mum saying, "Bedtime"? just not right, is it? It's just not right. So yeah, after that I did see the whole thing, obviously, and utterly spellbound. Absolutely, as a young kid, just, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. Please put more of it in my face and eyeballs. And I remember as a kid, I think my brother, it was, got the Millennium Falcon. I think I got Transformers and he got Star Wars. I think that was the way. And he got things like the Millennium Falcon. I think the idea was we were supposed to play with each other's toys. And on the whole, that pretty much did happen. So he got things like the Falcon, like I say. The AT-ST, he got an AT-AT. I remember he definitely got an AT-AT. Because that was one of the best toys ever. When you're a kid and you have a toy that, to your eyes at least, is absolutely massive. And it was. I mean, at the end of the day, it was a huge toy, was the AT-AT. It was just the best thing in the world. And this thing had lights and sound. And yeah, all right, in reality, it couldn't fit what it fit in universe, but it didn't matter. And the best thing is, and Kenner were really clever with this, and I love them for it. They decided that they were going to do little toys as well as big toys. So what they did, they made toys that weren't in universe, in canon, but kind of looked like Star Wars. And then you could play with them. They were like pocket money toys almost. So as a kid, you could buy these, use them with your Star Wars toys, and they look like they fit. So you got like a little shuttlecraft that could go in the AT-ST, AT-AT, the AT-AT, and it looked like it fit in with that universe. I was right. That's good. And you know, like troop transports you could get, and little. There was one that was basically 2 chunky wheels and like a cockpit, and you put it in, and it sort of went like, they turned into like a bike and moved along. It's hard to describe because it was such a weird out there thing, but it looked like it came from Star Wars. So it kind of, I don't know, it fooled you a little bit, even though it totally wasn't Star Wars, had nothing to do with Star Wars at all. It looked the part, and therefore you thought, oh well, go on, it fits it. It's good enough for me. There we go. But yeah, so you had like the Falcon and all that kind of thing, and also the dreaded troop transport, which nominally sort of fits in with the films, but it's also, it appeals to dads because it's you can put your toys in it and you can wheel it around, you know what I mean, you can carry it about, and yeah, so it serves a dual purpose. It's useful, it's practical. Dads love that shit. Dads love a toy that's practical. And it's easy to convince them to buy it. But everyone got one of those for Christmas. And some people liked it, and some people don't. I have mixed feelings with the troop transport, the Rebel troop transport. Because it's an ugly ship. It's not a good looking ship. None of the Rebel ships are. If you actually look at them, they don't look cool. None of them look cool. They're all big, because they're all supposed to be like Mon Calamari ships. And they're all big, ugly, bloody things. Much like the Mon Calamari. Is that racist against the Mon Calamari? I don't know. They're not real, so I guess it doesn't make a difference. At least they're not Quarren, right? Because the Quarren are assholes. I'm sorry, but they are. They proved that on The Mandalorian. Spoiler alert. But the Quarren, or group of Quarren, trick Mando into going aboard their ship. And then they basically tried to kill the child and kill him for his Beskar armor. Because the Quarren are assholes. They were always assholes. They were assholes in universe. All the way in Return of the Jedi. They're supposed to be like, on Mon Cala, they and the Mon Calamari are supposed to be the two races that basically live there. And Mon Calamari are sort of peaceful and good at their jobs, and the Quarren are basically, like I say, assholes. And they sell the Mon Cala down the river to the Empire. And go, yeah, no, you take over. We'll be fine. And then they just set off around the universe and be like space scum, effectively. They're not nice, the Quarren. It's not like the Emperor appreciates them, because he doesn't. Because he doesn't want to get in lift with them, am I right? Rambling. So this goes like that. Like so. And this goes on the end like that. There we are. So we've got something's happening. Get this bit and let's do be firkin. There we go. So yeah, I have a very long and storied history with Star Wars. One of the things I want to try and get hold of, and I have seen it on online on eBay. There was a department store in Britain, but still quite recently, called BHS. And BHS one year, and I forget what it is, something like 1984, 1985, did a collected comic version, where they call it like an annual or a storybook. Marks and Spencer would do this sort of thing as well. And it was a storybook of The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi as done by Marvel Comics, so the comic adaptations. They didn't do the Star Wars for some reason. It wasn't the Star Wars one. It was The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And I read this thing to bits, basically. Because I was a big reader when I was a kid. Still am. But I was a massive reader when I was a kid. I used to just love sitting down with a book or a comic and just spending an hour or 2 or 3 just reading, getting caught up in the universe, and just, yeah, really enjoying that sort of the quiet and the silence of reading a comic book. I'm trying to find one that looks like this, and I'm sure it's here somewhere. I just can't see it. Where is it? Ah, there it is, by Obi-Wan. So I had this thing and I just read the crap out of it like loads of times. And just, yeah, amazing. So I have found that on eBay. So it could be that I try and get hold of that again. I have, oddly enough, I have the actual adaptations digitally. Because you can find them if you know where to look. I don't think they've ever been brought out again. Certainly not by BHS, because BHS as a thing isn't a thing anymore. It doesn't exist. Which is a shame. But, yeah, that was one of my greatest Star Wars things that I had. And I'd love to know where that went. But, hey, look, these things go, don't they? These things disappear over time. But I remember I had the novelisation as well, the original novelisation that I think at the time was stated to be by George Lucas, but I think it's since been stated that it's actually Alan Dean Foster who wrote it all along. I think there's a thing going on at the moment, isn't it? He's trying to get money back off Disney, like sort of back payments for work that he did historically. I know he did The Empire Strikes Back, and I think he did Return of the Jedi as well. I never had The Empire Strikes Back as a novel. I had Return of the Jedi, and I had Star Wars, because the Star Wars one had there was a thing, I don't know if they still do it in, I don't even know if they do book adaptations of films anymore, but back in the old days, before we had VHSs of films, we used to go back and we used to read the novels of films. I had Ghostbusters, I had Cocoon, and I had Return of the Jedi and the original Star Wars film. And in these adaptations, they would have pictures, like pictures of the film. And you could look at them and you could read the story, then look at the pictures of the film. And sometimes they had pictures of things you didn't see in the actual finished film. So like sort of deleted scenes almost. And I remember very clearly seeing lots and lots of pictures of stuff that you just didn't see. So like aliens or things that had been filmed that just hadn't made it in. A couple of due back things. Yeah, it was super, super cool. I really, really loved that book, and I read it literally until it fell to pieces. And I did that a lot. Just read things and read and read and read, and just things would fall to bits eventually. But I loved it. I loved reading those novels. Now then, okay, so we've got those two and that. We are looking for. I don't. Oh, is that it? No, that's not it. Is that it? That's it. There we go. We're looking for that bit. So, where was I? So, reading novels. So, read all the novels I could of Star Wars. And then they started, obviously, after 1983, Return of the Jedi, that was it for Star Wars. I think you got to impress on people. Just the fact that there was no Star Wars for most of the 80s. You had things like droids. And you had things like Ewoks, which you watched. Even as a kid, you didn't quite enjoy it. But you watched it because it was Star Wars. And because you had nothing else. There was no other Star Wars coming out. And in the early 90s, it was this weird nostalgic thing. Late 80s, early 90s, it was this weird, like I say, nostalgic thing that didn't look like it was ever coming back. George Lucas had said, oh no, I don't think we're making any more of those. And it didn't seem like there was any new stuff on the horizon. And it's weird to think back and think, yeah, there was just no Star Wars coming out at all. And little did we know it would become the juggernaut that it has done. Because, well, I mean, it would have blown your mind. Because you got the novels in the early 90s by Timothy Zahn, like Heir to the Empire, and then you got like Shadows of the Empire came out roughly around that. You got the Dark Horse comic coming out, and you honestly thought that was the continuation of Star Wars. That's what Star Wars was going to be from now on. Books and comics and the occasional computer game, because obviously you had the stuff on the SNES, the weird Star Wars game, which is super hard, by the way. I have played it. I used to have a SNES back in the Great Beyond. I know I betrayed my Sega roots, and I had a SNES, and for that SNES I had a couple of games, and one of them was the Star Wars A New Hope one that was made way after the fact and was very Japanese. And I'm not going to say it wasn't good. It was good. It was just bloody hard. Like really super hard, really super difficult. One hit kills and really trial and error. And you had like a Tatooine bit with Womp Rats and the Jawa Sandcrawler. And that was, oh God. I mean, it was impossible. Quite frankly, it was impossible. And very frustrating. And caused me to swear a lot at it, frankly. But again, it was all you had, so you ate it up like a hungry boy with cake. And you just went, yeah, I need this in my face and in my eyes, and it's so cool to have Star Wars. And then the special editions came out, and I have a weird relationship with them, because on one hand I can certainly see their shortcomings. I can certainly look at them and look at the really horribly dated CGI. And it is. I watched it recently, actually. I watched New Hope during the New Year. I did that thing where 12 midnight the Death Star blows up. And it happened. It actually did it. I was really chuffed, because I've tried things like that before and it didn't work. And it was like they either did it way before or way after. And it's like, oh, okay, whatever. But this time, it's got to work. 2020, been a horrible year. Let's face it, it's got to work. And it did. And it was satisfying. But yeah, I did see it, and I thought, oh, the CGI can't be that dated, can it? Yeah, it can. It can be that dated. It's terrible. It looks awful, and it adds nothing. I mean, I know Lucas's whole gig on that was that, oh, it'll add everything that I ever wanted it to be, and it's like, I know he probably doesn't care now, but yeah, no, it doesn't do that. It distracts, if anything. But on the other hand, I can ignore it, you know, and I can go, well, you know, it was of its time. It's one of those things. It's what he wanted, and it's his, or it used to be his. So what can you do? You can't really complain about it. It was his to do with what he wanted at the time. Now, of course, it's terrible. And it really doesn't work. But, hey, you know, worse things happen at sea. It's only Star Wars at the end of the day. It's only Star Wars. What am I talking about? The only other thing is McClunky. And I know I mentioned that in the last video. But really, seriously, that's silly. He must have been pissing himself laughing. He must have been. They did it. They actually did it. They went and did McClunky. I only said it as a joke. I find that less offensive than Han's shooting last. Because Han's a hero, really. Han's not a hero at that point in the film. In fact, it's very important to think that he isn't the hero. Because, well, he's a space pirate. And he's a smuggler. And he's a bad one. He's got a heart of gold in there. You know he does. And you see that in Solo, you know, where some people say, oh, well, you know, that ruined it slightly. It ruined, you know, I don't like Solo. It's a stupid film. Look, I always like the fact that Han Solo is a guy who reluctantly does the right thing. He is selfish, but the reason he's selfish is because he's had to look after himself for a long time. Nobody would help, you know, look after him. Oh, is that going on? That goes on there, right? Yeah. So, you know, he's been a guy who's been on the run. He's had to look after himself. He's been screwed over a lot by other people. And, you know, his heart's a bit hard at the time that we see him. But because he's essentially a good guy, he does eventually do the right thing. But at that point, he is not that guy. At that point, he is a smuggler who is fighting for his life against a guy, Greedo, who really, really wants to kill him. You know? At the end of the day, Greedo, I mean, he even says, I can't wait for this. I've been looking forward to this for such a long time. So in the tradition of the Old West and the gunslingers, Han blows him away because it was either him or Greedo. What I like is, and it just gives a little bit of colour to proceedings, is that if you know what happened after Greedo, or to Greedo, sorry, after that. Now, this was from a book by Andy Mangles, I think it is. And it was like a Star Wars character bio book. And what it was, like a rundown of what every Star Wars character was. So it went into a lot of detail about a lot of the patrons of the cantina, like Danik Jericho, who is the guy who has the hookah. He is basically a luck vampire. Where are we? There we go. So he's basically a luck vampire. So he's an Anzat. I think that's his race name. And they are basically vampires who go around sucking up people's luck or life force and things like that. And yeah, they're vampires. And he is in there and wants Han Solo's luck, soup, or life force. Yeah, anyway. So this book went into all detail on characters like that. Really minor characters you saw for once, but might have stories in the Star Wars universe, probably won't. But yeah, interesting stuff. One of these characters is, I think his name's Wura, but he's the bartender. Could be wrong, but I think it's Wura or Wooher or something like that. Germanic, sounds Germanic to me. And whoops, that's all wrong. There we go. So when Greedo gets shot and Han Solo says, sorry about the mess, he goes and he basically scoops up what is left of Greedo and then distills him and serves him as a drink in the bar. And apparently he tastes very sweet and intoxicating. And it's one of the most horrific things in the Star Wars universe I have ever heard. And I love it. But apparently he served it to Jabba and it was one of Jabba's favourite drinks. And Greedo became one of Jabba's favourite drinks. Star Wars universe is mental. It's very, very odd. I do love it though. It is great, isn't it? Isn't Star Wars great? I could just do a whole set of videos just saying, isn't Star Wars brilliant? I mean, we do on the podcast with myself and Brad. We do that, don't we? Every so often. It's Star Wars great. Yeah, it is, mate. Yeah, Star Wars is brilliant. Oh, mate. I'm enjoying this Lego, I must admit. It's going together really well. I was a bit, I don't know, because of this one, because it is a bigger set. And I haven't a clue where it's going to go. I will find somewhere. I always do. But, yeah, I was a bit worried about where it might be going. But the build's going great. I'm enjoying it. Talking about Star Wars, crapping on and rambling. I don't often have a bit of a ramble about Star Wars like this on my own. So, and certainly not on my YouTube channel. Certainly haven't done this before. I don't know. Maybe this is something I do a bit more often. Because I do enjoy having a bit of a natter about Star Wars. But I say I liked it in the sort of special edition days. When they released them back in theatres so you could actually go see them. Because I never saw any of them. I was too young to see them in theatres. So it was nice to finally be able to do that. Yes, you had the special edition stuff. Not so much in The Empire Strikes Back. That didn't have a lot of things going on. Because I guess they thought of it as perfect. And I think George Lucas did it out of respect to his old film teacher, Owen Kirshner. Who also, I always liked the fact, he did a few films in his career. Just a few. Quite a lot. One of the ones he did was RoboCop 2. That's always a bit weird to me, that. The same guy who directed The Empire Strikes Back directed RoboCop 2. I suppose you can find some parallels. They are both sort of dark. They're a little bit dystopian. Especially RoboCop 2, man alive. That is a very dystopian film. Where's this going? Here. Oops, wrong way. That is a very dystopian film with a very bleak message, and basically says that OCP are the Nazis. I mean, I guess at that point they weren't wrong. Big business was going a bit that way, and it more explicitly makes the old man into a bad guy, doesn't it? Dan O'Hurley. Whereas before, in the previous RoboCop film, he'd been a bit, I don't know, ambivalent. You kind of didn't know where his loyalties lay. I mean, obviously with the company, but you didn't know if he was like a bad guy or a good guy. But I never trusted him because I remembered him from Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Yeah, he was the bad guy in that. Connor... Oh, I forget his name. But Connor something anyway. But he was the bad guy who wanted to kill loads of kids with the power of Stonehenge. Bring Sam Hain back. Yeah, see, I remember this stuff. But yeah, Erwin Kershner directed... Let's have a look. He directed that as well as The Empire Strikes Back. And like I say, that was the one that the special edition that was messed around with the least. Jedi quite a bit, but New Hope more than anything. But especially, it's always the same things they pick out, isn't it? It's always the Tatooine, the Cantina. I don't. There are certain bits in the Cantina that I really don't like that they mess around with. The bit where the tentacle monster, or it's not a tentacle monster anymore. It's like an elephanty monster, growls at. I don't know. I don't even know what it's supposed to be, but it used to be this sort of tentacly monster, and a wolf man growled at it, and that was supposed to be a character called, I think it's Lev Shavrak, and he was supposed to be someone who turned into a freedom fighter because he fell in love with the tentacle monster. I know, Star Wars is weird. We've said this before. Let's just find these bits one on one. Yeah, so he meets this tentacly monster in the Cantina, growls at it, and then they form a relationship, and then the tentacle monster thing convinces Lev, the Wolfman, to go and be a rebel. No, I'm sorry about this. I'm just trying to work out other way, that way, I think. No, hang on. What am I doing? So yeah, it convinces him. Oh, right, okay. Is that supposed to be like that? Are they supposed to be lower down? They're supposed to be lower down. Okay. I get it. I've got this bit wrong. That's alright. Oh, I'm going to use this for the first time, if I can. I don't think I can. No, I can't. The one time... Oh, hang on. Yes, I can. There we are. Hey! First time I ever used that in anger. There we go. That bit should go on lower. And this bit should go on up here. Oops. Up here like so. There we go. There's probably been people screaming at the screen for the last 5 minutes saying that. But yes, Lev Shavrak is convinced by Tentacle Monster to go off and be a rebel. So he does, and he dies. I think he dies. I think he becomes a pilot. This is all from Andy Mangles again. But I think he goes off and becomes a rebel pilot. I could be wrong. What's going on here? Oh, I know what. I've taken too much. So yeah, he goes off and becomes a rebel pilot, and I think he dies on the raid on the Death Star, on Yavin 5. Yavin 4. Sorry, not Yavin 5. Yavin 5? Where's that come from? Yeah, he dies on the raid on Yavin 4. I think. So, yeah. Oh, I've got this completely tits up. Because I'm thinking about bloody Dev Shavrak, that's why. One of the most inconsequential and nothing characters in the whole of Star Wars. But I like him. I always liked that story, and I always like, yeah, I think that story's pretty cool. They've got the is it a Devonian as well? So the guy who looks like a devil And I can't remember his name, so I am really sorry. The amount of Star Wars characters there are. But the devil guy is what is called a Devonian. And although he looks scary, he ain't at all. He's not even the slightest little bit scary. And he is desperate for the world to fear him. Desperate for the world to sort of think he's a super criminal. And he's just not. And he never will be. And again, I can't remember. I'd love it if that was Dev Shavrak. But I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm sure I'm getting names wrong on left, right and centre here. But, you know, there you go. Like I say, there's a lot of Star Wars characters. And, you know, this is from a long time ago. It's a book I wish I still had. I think I might have it somewhere. But I remember I bought it in Nottingham and read it on a very long bus journey. And devoured it in like sort of the bus journey. Just completely devoured the bloody thing. Anything like that, any sort of battle bestiary or reference book about Star Wars, love it. It's like the because you find out a lot of random crap that doesn't mean anything, that you don't need to know. Like, you know, Dengar. Everybody knows Dengar. Voiced by Simon Pegg, I think, in the cartoons. But he is the guy who was swathed in bandages on The Empire Strikes Back, that bounty hunter. That in the original book that I'm talking about, the Andy Mangles one, he is a bounty hunter who hates Han Solo a lot because he blames Han Solo for him being swathed in bandages. And the reason being is that he used to be a racer. And he was in an accident that he blames Han Solo for. He basically was in a race that Han Solo was in as well, when Han Solo was a racer as well. He had a crash. He barreled into Dengar. I think it was Dengar's fault though, because he's supposed to be a bit of a loser. And yeah, I think that's now the realm of canon. Realm of legend, sorry, not the realm of canon anymore. You know, it's looking good, isn't it? But anyway, I don't think that any of that is canon anymore. I think that is all what's known as legend. What is implied is that now there is a character in The Rise of Skywalker called Hrothgar Deng, who is like a cyborgy, weird looking thing. You'll see him. He's in the scene where they go to Zori Bliss's planet when they're trying to look for Babu Frick. Hey! So when they're trying to look for him, this guy is in the bar. It's the same one where John Williams is... I go there? Yeah. Yeah. He's a bartender. So he's there, stood looking weird. Now that apparently is supposed to be Dengar. Because in the Star Wars Illustrated Dictionary, it says that Hrothgar Deng is a bit of a loser, has made a lot of poor decisions with his body, and has just turned himself into this sort of massive cyborg in an attempt to live forever. So that's why Hrothgar Deng is still around, because he's a cyborg. I guess Hrothgar Deng sounds a bit like Dengar. Now then. Okie dokie, so we've got this bit here. And this apparently is supposed to lock into there. Like a drawer. Oh, there you go. Look, there you go. I'm liking it. There you go. We've got these two studs. So Hrothgar Deng is, like I say, supposed to be Dengar. I think that's pretty weird and pretty cool. Odd. Star Wars is odd sometimes. Star Wars has very odd moments, very odd characters. Like Babu Frick. Who I love, but I'm well aware it's weird, right? This tiny little character with the voice of Shirley Henderson going, hey, hey! And turn into a... basically just exists to be a meme. I don't mind it. I mean, I know a lot of people didn't like The Rise of Skywalker. I understand. And you're not going to like everything, unless you're me, because I like everything as long as it's Star Warsy. As long as they tell a good story, I'm happy. And they told, I thought, quite a good story, but maybe I'm just easily pleased. That could be it. I'm willing to admit it. I know a lot of people probably aren't, and they, you know, they said that they liked it, and then they decided that they didn't because, well, reasons. But I felt it had a satisfying conclusion, and that's all I'm bothered about. The Skywalker saga is now over. I'll go back and I'll watch the films because, you know, like I say, I'm just a big fan of them. Now then, we might have a missing piece. Which is going to be annoying because that's my second missing piece in a matter of days. I'm supposed to have 2 of these. There's only 1. I'm sure I will find it. It's probably in another bag or hiding from me. This does sometimes happen, or it's on the floor or something, or it's in another bag. It's probably in another bag. I'm not going to worry about it. It'll be fine. That bit goes in there anyway. That bit's hanging off there or anything. I'll probably find it later. Don't worry about it. I don't think it makes much difference to anything. We got this bit, we got this bit. And that bit goes on there. We are very nearly done on bag number 1. Go back. It certainly does. There's 2 there, isn't it? There, can you see it? There says 2. There isn't. I will find it. If not, I've got plenty of spare pieces I can use, and it doesn't make that much difference anyway to the overall thing. You can't see it. So that bit goes on there, and this bit can close. Love it. And I think that is the end of bag number 1. We are on bag number 2. Do you see that? So we shall do that tomorrow, or whenever. The next video. So we are currently at this point we have got the main body of the Starfighter done with his all his missiles ready. Oh, I see what will happen, because you'll have a long missile bit here that'll push on that and that'll spring out, and then you've got these bits here, these missile launchers, and you've got his cockpit which opens and closes. Lovely stuff. And I got to use this for once. Hey! Oh, hey, hey! Excellent stuff. Right, well, that is it from me for now. But please do join me in the next video. I shall be building bag number 2, which is crinkly, this bag. So please do join me when we come back. And yeah, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye-bye for now. Enjoy your Star Wars. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.